This is Mrs. D's favorite Fire Prevention Week activities. And so this all started because a couple people had asked, what am I doing? What am I using? And so I wanted to be able to share with you some of my favorite tools, and also help you find a couple of these tools on a couple of the NFPA resources and websites. So that's how this all came about. For those that have never met me in person or have never been in a session with me before, my name's Brene Duggins. I'm a fire educator with Pinecroft-Sedgefield Fire Department in Greensboro, North Carolina. And for Carolyn, I'm not sure if she actually knew that I had made this move. This actually is a very new shift for me. I was with my previous department for a number of years. It's actually where I started in 2002. And I actually just made the shift up to Pinecroft Sedgefield. This month actually is my official start, well, the end of last month was my official start date there. I have been in the fire service for this is my 21st year, and all but one of those years I've done fire prevention and education. But for those that don't know, like I said, this is my after school teacher attire. I am a full-time teacher in a school system. I'm the media coordinator at a high school. So a lot of what I deal with every day, I work in the library. So yes, I work with books, but I work with all the technology in the building, including Chromebooks, internet stuff, websites, finding resources. So that's where a lot of my digital resources came about, is finding ways that I could integrate those. And so that's kind of how that happened. I did put my website up on there a lot. That's where this video is actually going to go, is on thank you, Carolyn. This is where this video is actually going to be housed, will be on the busybeebree.com website. That is my virtual PD page, and I throw up all of my training sessions there. And I try to use things and share things that will help departments, help my teachers integrate technology and use them, and maybe sometimes have some different ways to look at stuff. So that's what you're going to see today, is a couple things that you may have seen before, but maybe a different way to use it. I also have the session slides, and I'm going to put those in the chat also. You also see them on the screen. This is going to have links for you. Now, I am going to give you a little bit of a disclaimer. If you're watching the recording, some of the links are going to look a little bit different if you play with the slides later. There are a couple things that I am actually still modifying and changing. So when I email out to everybody with the recording and the session slides, they will be updated. I've got to finish a couple things this evening, but you're going to see one version now, but you're going to see a finalized version when I email out to everybody, either later tonight or in the morning. So this is what we're going to be looking at today. This is my fire prevention week, like kind of classroom to keep some of my favorite things together. And so I'm going to bounce around a little bit and show you some of my favorite things. And before we go to the website side, which is going to be over here, I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite tools. I'm going to jump in and out of the slides because some things are physically in here with me. And so I'm going to start right here. This is one of my favorite little activities to do with people. This was on last year's Fire Prevention Week page, and it's also on this year's page. And it's talking about the family fire safety. In what order do we do things when we are using our home escape plans, from hearing our smoke alarm going off to exiting to going to our meeting place? So when we go to that, this is what I actually do with this. And I'm going to show you this actual document later. What I actually did for events is I printed these full page size. So I took the 4 sections on that activity and I print them and laminate them, or you could put them in sheet protectors if you don't have something you can laminate with, or contact paper. Man, teacher's best friend is clear contact paper from the dollar store. So I put them out, and I actually use binder clips to hold them down to the table so they don't fly away. And I have families say, put these in order. Can you put the steps in order? And adults, kids, they all look at them and come over and reshuffle, but then they start talking about it, because there's 2 in the middle that they always need to try to figure out, well, which do I do first? And so that's one of those. So you can see, like, this was an outdoor event we did last year for It's Safety Fest in Thomasville. So we had parents, kids, adults, all kinds of people walking around. And then this was at a bookstore a couple weeks ago with kids. I was doing a story time, and the kids were helping me put the steps in the right order, because we read a book and then we talked about home escape planning. So I'm gonna like actually jump out for a second, and I'm gonna unshare my screen so y'all can see me. And so what I do is I have this printed, and I have this one for me, because if you are like anybody else, or if you are in charge, and sometimes you know how you have to send your people out, like my firefighters have to go out to do this, and they're like, hey, Bree, I don't know what order these are supposed to be in. When you turn it upside down, the answer is right there. So I always give them this one as the cheat sheet, and then I have them printed. And then they can shuffle them and they can reorganize them. And so I just have them in a folder. And then this is an awesome little activity that all it cost me was to print for like 5 pieces of paper. And I love this one, and people like this one too, because we can talk about all the steps. Oh, I lost there it is. I was like, I lost my little thing where I was doing. So that's one activity. Another one that I absolutely love that a lot of people don't realize is on the Sparky Schoolhouse is the choice boards. So many times when, like Carolyn a little bit ago was talking about trying to line up going to the schools, you know, we may only get like 15, 20 minutes with a group. And so there's a lot of stuff we'd love to be able to share with them or send back home. And this is one of those I share with the teachers, because they can either share it with parents through emails. Like a lot of our teachers do Remind, they do school messenger. So it sends text messages and emails to the parents. And also they can put it in like their learning management system, like Google Classroom, Seesaw, Canvas. Well, these are activities that they can do. And so when you click on this one, when it comes up, there are all these little activities, and the kids have one page. So if they say, you know, read a book, and they click go, it's going to take them. Oh, that link is not working. We're going to have to, I will make sure I let them know that that one's not working. They've been, if you did not know, Sparky Schoolhouse and sparky.org, they've been doing some updates. So a couple of the links may have changed. I will let them know so that we can make sure these links follow correctly. Let's go see if one of the games works. These were working the other day. Oh no, they're all not working. Okay, well, do y'all ever have those days where you know, you have to have your backup plan? So let me explain what this one is, and then this afternoon I will shoot an email and make sure that they fix the links on these. With the choice board, when they go through and when they click, it's going to take them to that activity. It could be, I love these because these are ebooks, so they could pull it up. The teacher could actually do this as extra activities when we're not even there, and they could read a book to the whole class, or families could click on it and read a book together at night. And so there's all kinds of activities. There's the I Spy fire safety video. This one hopefully should work. Yes, it takes it to the right place. So then they can go and they can watch the video. Um, so it has all these neat things. Well, then when they get done, they can click the box and it's going to check it for them. And so the other page is for parents, and this is kind of a choice board for the parents, talking about what their class did. And then it gives them some information that they can do and learn, but also do it with their kids, so they can talk about testing their smoke alarms. That one goes to the checkoff where they test their smoke alarms each month. There's activities they can print to do with their kids. They can read a book with their family. So it gives them options as well. And I really like that one because when it's working, and like I said, I'll send them a message to see about checking the links. That's one of those I can share and they can share that with parents. And, you know, we don't always get to see those emails because we're not allowed to have those email lists, but we can give it to the teachers and they can share it and say, hey, or they put it in their school newsletter for that week. And they can say, hey, this is the, you know, firefighter Bree was here and you know, they talked about this, and this is things you can do at home. And sometimes they'll even do it as an assignment. So they'll have them as writing assignments, math assignments. There's all kinds of cool stuff. Another one is down here. This is, so there's two parts to this. The first one is pictures of what I do with this in person sometimes. So with this one, this is the Seek and Find. And I love this one because I have it printed as a really big poster. Now, if you don't have access to a poster printer, I'm very lucky that I do at work. And there are other agencies that have them too. So when you print them, you can laminate it, and you could go to your local office supply store and have one printed and laminated. And then we carry it with us. And I've done all kinds of events, lay it out on the table, and then the kids come up, and as the kids are looking all over the screen or all over the picture, I can talk to them and their families. And I can ask them about, you know, do you have working smoke alarms? Do you know what sound the smoke alarm makes? Do you know what to do if you hear the smoke alarm go off in your house? You know, think about school. What happens when the fire alarm goes out off? And we can have that conversation because there's enough things on this that are going to keep them occupied and with me for a little bit. Sometimes I have them point. It's dry, it's laminated, so you could actually use dry erase markers and then wipe it off. Or one of the things I like to do is I get those big washers that have the big circles in the middle, like the holes in the middle, and I lay those out, and they lay those over the smoke alarms, the batteries, and the funny things that are on this one. And so that one was a really another. I'm all about things that are not going to cost us a lot of money, but get people interactive. And this is one of those ways. Was that one's cheap. Washers, go get a couple from the store. It's not going to cost you anything, or grab some dry erase markers, or just use a finger. Really simple to do. So if you don't have the poster printer, you can actually, there's a PDF of this one, and that is on the Sparky website, and I'll show you where that one is too. But another thing I did with this same one is if I'm in the classroom and we're talking, and you know, sometimes you want to break up your message. We want to talk to them about our safety message and give them a little bit of fun, and then do another safety message or review. Well, this is what I do with rooms that have interactive panels. And what this one is this one is a Google, oh, I don't have that one. This one's the PDF version. You can pull it up on the screen, and they can come up to the board with the pen from the interactive panel and circle the things they find. I have another one that is, and I'll put the link on it too, that has circles down the side, and they actually drag them. So you've got a couple options. You can just have them pull it up on the screen and look for things, or you can have them actually circle it. With our school system has Promethean boards, and so they can actually pull this up, grab the pen, and actually circle it on the screen and write on it and draw on it. So that's that one. I love that one. I have the poster actually with me right here, that you can just literally pull out. Kids, adults, it is so funny. You never would have thought that so many adults like these Seek and Finds, but they come over and they are going, oh, it's like an I Spy book, or it's like Where's Waldo? And so they get excited about it too. And it gives me that chance. I just need that foot in the door to be able to talk to them. And they are standing there long enough with me doing the activity for me to be able to ask them some questions. Another that I absolutely love is Flat Sparky. Like the Adventures with Sparky. I was so glad they brought this one back. So there's a couple things here. I'm going to jump back out a second. There is the PDF that we can print. And what I do is I actually have made him big. And so if you saw behind me behind on my counter, I actually have this big one here. I printed him on a poster, black and white, and then colored him in marker. I colored him in markers and then laminated him. And so he goes to events with us. And we put him places like we had a photo op at Halloween last year where they could take their picture. He sometimes is on our trucks. He was helping direct traffic, like at our Halloween event. But the other thing that I just started doing this year was I printed them in a smaller poster version. And one of the activities that they can do before, like they leave, especially this was at the bookstore, was they got to help me color my own big flat Sparky. And so I'm going to jump out of the screen again really fast so I can show y'all. So what I did is, so here's my big flat Sparky behind me. This one is the one that goes with me everywhere. I also have a little bitty one. I have one that's small that I carry myself. He's in my backpack somewhere. Oh, let's see if he's right here. Sometimes he's right at the front of my back. Oh, there he is. So I have a little one that stays in my calendar. And so when I travel, I take pictures of flat Sparky. But the kids, they colored the big one. And so now I can have, like, for different events, we can have the kids, the ones that they did. You could even have them sign the back of it, but then you might be able to do something with all of these, take pictures of the different ones from different events. And you could have like a little safety thing where they did the Sparkies, but they really loved it. And in the pictures, I'm going to go back to those. In the pictures, I actually had Sparky help color Sparky, which it was one of our juniors, and he was such a good sport about it. Like he's over here, and the kids loved that because Sparky was coloring. They would tell him, oh no, Sparky, you need to use this color. And so it really got them all excited. And again, just like the Seek and Find, while we were coloring, I was able to review with the kids. And so we got to talk about the topics that we covered, and I got to ask them questions, and it was almost like a game. They were coloring and talking to me at the same time. So it was a lot of fun. But it also is a way just to kind of highlight and promote like your events. But you can also talk to them about like what can Flat Sparky do? So they all took a Flat Sparky home and they had homework. And so they were supposed to go home and take a picture with Flat Sparky of them testing their smoke alarms with their family, finding their meeting place. They were supposed to go home and tell Flat Sparky where their meeting place was. And so there you can have contests where they submit those pictures, and not necessarily that you're going to post them everywhere, because for privacy reasons, we don't want to post everybody's home meeting places, but they might submit them to us to show they did that activity so that they could earn prizes and things. The other pictures are of Flat Bree. Another tweak on this is making your firefighters. And so this is my Flat Bree, and she travels with me. And just like Flat Sparky, she goes places. And the kids like to see where Sparky and Flat Bree go. And so some of these are from Boston, from the NFPA conference. There's our Fire and Life Safety Conference in Concord this year. This is Cat. Cat is one of the fire dogs from Charlotte Fire Department. And so Cat and Bree were having an event at the conference, and Flat Bree even got to see the Pacific Ocean. And so that's another take on it. It's just kind of a fun, almost like gimmick to be able to start the conversations. Like if you're traveling, talking about the Pacific Ocean, then we can start the conversation of, well, if Flat Bree's traveling, what are some safety things that she needs to keep in mind? And then we can talk about, well, if I'm traveling, I might be staying in a hotel. Well, how do we know if the fire alarm goes off at the hotel, what do we do? What would be possible exits there? What do we need to think about? and go from there and talk about those things. And so that it's a neat way to start that conversation. Another one that I really like is the anchor chart. The anchor chart is on the Sparky Schoolhouse website. And so this is a digital version of the anchor chart. There is a printable. And so you can actually make a poster of this anchor chart. And that's what there's a video on Sparky Schoolhouse that shows you how to do that. And I'm used being in the school system, and I know Carolyn is a retired teacher. We anchor charts are how we help people remember the key points. And so I really like this one because it covers a lot of stuff that we're talking about this year, especially about, excuse me, our home escape plans, about finding two ways out of every room, um, our smoke alarms and knowing what that sound and getting out, having that meeting place. So with this one, what I did, the digital one, is when you click on it, it takes you to an activity. Oh, they moved all kinds of stuff. I need to go back and relink everything it looks like. Let's see if this one's working. Here's one of the hidden picture activities. So I will go through and fix these two before I send y'all the link today. I will fix these links. But it goes through, I think this one's to a video, one of the YouTube videos. So it reminds kids about those, and it's something fun. We can talk to them, and then they have something they can listen or do. But then the printable version that I was saying is on the Sparky Schoolhouse website. So it has all the things you need to print in order to make your own like physical anchor chart that you can take to a class and show them pieces. And then, like I said, there's a video that goes with this that shows you how to make it and how to set that up. And then the last thing before I talk about like websites is this is actually what I built for this year for my schools for Fire Prevention Week. And so this is actually an interactive classroom. And I'm going to turn it into a slideshow as soon as it pops up. So this one, hoping the links are gonna play nice, but yep. So this is a interactive Sparky classroom for Fire Prevention Week. And so this can be shared with teachers, but I can also use it similar like what I'm using to show y'all today. This can be my guide when I go to talk to them about Fire Prevention Week or do activities with them. I may only use one or two things from this, but I may be able to share this with them, and then they do these things or they check out the other things at home. So what I have on here is I have the 2 videos for Fire Prevention Week, the Making Home Fire Escape Plan and Plan Your Home Fire Escape. I love these because they're short and to the point, and they're easy to use. So when you click on it, it's going to take you to that video. And so then that they can watch both of those videos. We could have them watch those and us talk about them. There's the activity with the finding the correct order. This is to the PDF version so that we can pull it up on the screen and have them see it. So we can pull it up on a Promethean board. We could have it on a projector. If you don't have like a printed version, so that we can talk to them about it, put them in the right order. There's Flat Sparky, and that one goes to the PDF so that they can print their own. This is the Seek and Find, and so this is the one that I have, like, so they can go through and print it. We can pull it up again on the Promethean board and use it. And so some of these are duplicates of ones that I had on that last slide, some of my favorite things. This last one right here is, this actually is on the Sparky or Fire Prevention Week website, as well as the NFPA website on the lesson plans. The slideshow for this is there as a PowerPoint. So when you pull this one up, this is the emergency dialing. So if you remember from the NFPA website and the 10-minute lesson plans about emergency dialing. So how this plays into this year's Fire Prevention Week is, well, we talk about what do you hear what if the smoke alarm goes off, what do we do? And we have to put our home escape plan in action. Well, then once you get outside your meeting place, what do we need to do now? And we need to notify somebody, we need to call for help. And sometimes if you're out on your own, you may have mom and dad's phone, and if you were anything like me, there's probably a passcode on it. So it's showing how do we use the emergency dial feature. So this can actually be done from a cell phone and from a tablet, and also like it is in this, we could have it on a Promethean board and the kids actually come up. I've done this with adults too that do not realize that emergency dialing exists on their cell phones. And so they've actually been able, I have pulled it up on my iPad before and had them practice this. So this one is one where, do you know how to emergency dial on a cell phone? So to get started, we're going to press go. Now, one of the things you're going to notice, I am clicking all over this screen. Nothing is happening. This is set so that it's not going to move unless you click the right thing. So they want to know on the lock screen, can you find the emergency button? So we're going to click the emergency button and we found it. So we're going to make a call. So now we've got to dial 911. So when we click 911 and then finishing the call, we have to press the call button. So then it's going to talk to us about what do we say to the dispatcher? And there are so many people that even as adults don't know what to say. They're not used to knowing their cell phone number. They're not used to really giving their location. And this is one of those things we can practice. We've had driver's ed in the media center for the past couple weeks, and we were talking about that with their teacher the other day about, you know, if something happens on the highway or on a road, being able to give the best instructions for where you are and knowing, are you going north or southbound, east or west, or, you know, what exit are you close to? You know, if you don't see a street sign, what landmarks do you see? So you can talk to even adults with this. One of the cool features on this activity is if you want to have them practice, they can click the phone button and it takes you to a video on YouTube where they have a dispatcher that's going to say 911, what's your emergency? And on the screen, it's going to give them what to say. You know, describe or tell us your name, tell us your location, you know, what kind of emergency do you have? And then it's going to tell them to stay on the line. And they can rewind and practice that video. I remember as a kid trying to learn my name, my address, my phone number from McGruff and trying to say it within a certain amount of time. And this is kind of a similar version. And then this activity wraps up where they can go to the sparky.org website and play games and do activities, watch videos. So it's a really neat little activity for practicing dialing 911. And like I said, that I'm going to show you where those are in just a few minutes. It's on the NFPA website under lesson plans. And it's also on the Fire Prevention Week website, like the FPW website. And then down here, I also gave links to the Fire Prevention Week website and the sparky.org website. That way, when I'm using this, sometimes when I'm doing stations at a school, I may be talking to a small group and another group is doing an activity on their Chromebooks. Our schools are 1-to-1. And so every kid has a device, be it a tablet or be it a Chromebook. And so I could have them doing the Sparky, like the Fire Safety Club and doing the badge activities on the sparky.org website while I'm talking to another group about home escape plans. And then I have another group that's outside at a fire truck. So you can rotate stations really easily by utilizing what resources they have. And so by using this and having this in their learning management system, the kids can click and actually look at these. And we can say, hey, I want you to click the one that says visit sparky.org, and this is where I want you to go. So any questions so far about what's there so far, like what we've done so far? Hopefully everybody's good. The next couple of things, if you do have a question, remember, throw it in the chat. The next thing that I'm going to show you is A couple of things on the websites that people sometimes don't realize. The first one is the sparky.org website. And I don't know if y'all check this often, but I'm going to hit skip. They have the fire safety pledge on here. They also have the fire safety club. So you can go in and participate. There are a number of new things and you need to keep checking back. They are adding stuff constantly, especially the last couple weeks, and there's still more things that they're going to be adding. So if you see the new, then you can click on it and it's new things. They have a new video, the science of fire. This one is great. Like in North Carolina, our third grade talks about the methods of heat transfer in their science classes. It's part of their science curriculum. This talks about the fire triangle. It talks about those methods of heat transfer and taking the pieces off the fire triangle. Talks about what firefighters do. I love that one. These hidden pictures, you have a hidden pictures for readers and one for non-readers. And what it does, the reader one uses words to look for stuff, and the original one has pictures. And so it's a hidden picture. So you can pull those up. You've got the new match games. So they've got also another hidden picture for Sparky's, like the parade pictures. There's Halloween stuff. I know a number of people are getting ready to do Halloween events. My previous department, we had a Halloween event that was like, I think we were getting ready to be on our 18th year. And these are great things. There's templates, there's activities, there's safety messages. You can find videos on here, games, activities. There's things about fire trucks, Sparky. There's all kinds of cool tools. So I use this as a landing page for students. A lot of times teachers are looking for activities for those kids that are early finishers. And you know those kids, or you might know somebody in your office that finishes everything so fast. And so you need something for them to do. So you can actually give this link to teachers and they put it in those learning management systems. So when they finish early, the teacher, all she has to say is, hey, go check Canvas, go check Google Classroom for the activities, and then they can go in and do these. And so I really like that. That's a fun way. And whenever they're doing their Sparkies, like the badging for the Fire Safety Club, then they get to pick a little avatar and they get to earn badges, and the kids really enjoy it. Another one that sometimes people forget is like Sparky.org. A lot of people know about, they just don't know all the things that are there. But Sparky Schoolhouse, I feel like is a hidden gem that so many people don't realize all that's there. This is a great resource when you are looking for lesson plans. A lot of the music and videos that you see on Sparky.org, you'll see here too. And there are activities. This is also where you're going to find like the Learn Not to Burn curriculum. So you can actually click on Learn Not to Burn and it's going to have all the stuff there. I know last year when I was doing activities for knowing the sounds of fire safety, I actually used the MP3s from here to create a couple activities because it has more than just your smoke alarm and your chirp, like your low battery chirp. It also has other sounds so we can talk to them and mix it up so that it helps them distinguish what those sounds are in reference to other things. So it's not just us only giving them that smoke alarm chirp. It's us saying the baby crying and the fire truck sound and then this. So it gives them a little bit more critical thinking. They have to think a little bit harder. But there's all the different grade levels are here. And then there's all kinds of lessons below. And I love these because you can go through, there's parent letters, the smoke alarm sounds, what a character. So there's all kinds of things here for you. There's also the digital backpack. And this is where I go all the time. This keeps all the videos together. There's the anchor chart that I was telling you about. It has all that information. The video on how to create the anchor chart is right here. If you want to do the story of Sparky the fire dog, it's a read aloud. And so if you have guys that are going to do a read aloud with like elementary kids and they're terrified to read, these are great because it's doing that story time. It's a read aloud without your guys having to actually read aloud to the group. The I Spy videos are here. This one's a fun one, like weird history and fascinating future with firefighters. Songs are on here. And then you go down and there's apps. I don't know if y'all knew that there are apps. So you have apps and ebooks. And so there's all of those are there. My kids really like these, the Case of the Missing Smoke Alarm, the storybook, and then there's like the app trailer. The birthday surprise, the match game are all here. There's lesson activities. You can even have the party kit. So even if you're doing an event, the party kit is great for decorations. So not just a birthday party for the public, but y'all can use that. Games, there's the anchor chart. Lesson plans, it throws even the learn not to burn ones on here. I mean, it goes on. And if you're looking for some for subjects, here's one about phonics for the elementary school. Here's one for math. Here's the science of fire and more. There's coloring pages, tongue twisters, word scrambles. Like you can have a lot of fun with some of the resources that are on here. And that's one of the things that I really like is there is so much here. They even have the social media images going all the way down as you can actually go in it. You can pull these and use these as well. They've got these for you to use. And then we also have, and I don't, before I go to the FPW page, I know that a lot of people have seen on social media, or if you were at NFPA, we showed this in a couple of the conferences we did too. But don't forget the Kahoot. NFPA has partnered with Kahoot and they have 4 videos. Now, I will go on and tell you they're working on more. So you will keep checking back. They are going to be adding more, but these are free for y'all to use. You create an account with Kahoot and then you can play the games. And so what it has is it has videos. You'll start the video and it'll stop and ask questions. And so everybody in the audience will answer the questions. Or you can do it in team mode where one person has a device and everybody else is in that group and it tells you who's in the group. So how you would play this, you don't need clickers. I am all about, again, as minimal budget as possible because I did not, my budget from where I have been in the past was very minimal. So we utilized what was available with our schools, and our schools had devices. If your school is not one-to-one, it is highly probable that there is a cart with devices, be it that they're tablets like iPads, be it a Chromebook cart. So you may be able to ask the teachers when you go into those schools if the students will have access to devices. Even if you get 10 in a classroom of 28 kids or 30 kids, or even like in my classes at school, there's like 37. If you have 10, you can put them into groups with those devices. So then you can have them, they'll log on. They're used to this. They know how to do this with those devices. You can also have people do it with their cell phone. And so that's a really great one with the Plan Your Home Fire Escape. You don't have to just do it with kids. All of these I've used with adults, kids, all ages, and they can use their cell phones and jump on. And then they can participate. And it's really cool because you can have big groups all answering at the same time. The largest Kahoot, my account is a little bit different than just the free account. But the largest Kahoot I've had is about 1,000 people, and they were all playing at the same time. And so it was pretty cool um, watching the people's answers come in. And one thing I absolutely love too is that this gives me in real time their answers. It also at the very end will tell me the questions people had the most issues with. I can also keep that data. And so that gives me documentation and proof of how people answered, what they learned. And so I really like this for that data piece too. And it's fun. But again, they are working on more of them. If you have suggestions on ones you'd like to see or a particular age group, let me know and I'll pass that along. So then the last thing is the FPW site. And this one, a lot of people forget to go check. You can look up a couple ways. You can just literally type in fpw.org and it's going to take you here. If you click on toolkit, it's going to take you to the toolkit for educators. And this is like a one-stop shop for Fire Prevention Week. You've got your messaging guide up here for accurate messaging. We had somebody asking the other day for proclamations. If you have your city council or mayor or whatever going to do a proclamation for Fire Prevention Week or Fire Prevention Month, there are templates in here for you. There's webinars, there's out-of-the-box ideas, your social media posts. Hey, why reinvent the wheel? It's already created. I mean, like if you're wanting to do like right here, I already see over like a weekday's worth of posts that you could post on your social media accounts. They also have ones that are more like cartoon versions that break down the different pieces and also talk about people have different homes. So we have to have different plans in place. And so that I really like that one too, because not everybody lives in a single story ranch. We have people that live in high rises. We have people that are living on couches. I have students that are on a different person's couch every night. So being able to talk to them about no matter where you are, when you get there, look around, know your surroundings. Do you know how to get out? And because they're not familiar with that location, can they look around and be able to kind of figure out, okay, if I can't go out the front door, what's another way? Um, it goes everything from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's got them in all versions for you. And then also the logos. It has the 100th anniversary logo. It also has your main logo in English and Spanish. And remember that Sparky and all the NFPA logo, those are trademarked. So you don't want to just go and steal one off of the website. You want to make sure that you're following their terms of use, and that is there. So they have their logo guidelines on what you can and cannot do with them, but you cannot modify these. So you can't sit there and say, I just want the Sparky right here. You can't go and take that. And then it gets down to the lessons. And I really like this part. They just added wallpaper and screensavers. So if you're going out to a school, you could have this as your background for whenever you plug into that projector or that Promethean board or interactive board. Or when you're doing something like this, if you're doing a virtual session, you could have that pop up. This one's a new one. If any of y'all are in cities, this is a new kit that just came out, and I'm going to download it and open it for you. They just put this up on the page. This was not on there in June when the page went live. This one goes through the fire safety steps for home escape planning in an apartment or a building that has multiple levels. And I really like this. You know, the community that I live in doesn't really have a lot of apartment buildings that are multiple levels. But some of our larger cities do. And so it talks about some fire safety tips, and then it goes through the steps in a city, what would happen, and about testing their alarm, practicing, you know, filling the door. And it talks about if they can't get out, what to do to let firefighters know where they are. So it goes through all those steps, which is pretty awesome. And then even has an activity for kids on a what's hot or what's not activity. And so this one, I really like this one. I'm excited about using this one. Like I said, it just posted. So I'm gonna be using it in the soon in the future. There's one of the hidden pictures that we saw on the sparky.org page. There's coloring sheets, mazes. Here's put the steps in order. There's flat Sparky. Here are the sounds. If you need the sound file that has your smoke alarm, you can download it right here. It also has a couple of the kids' lesson plans that are grade level specific. So this is a pre-K 1 lesson plan. This is a 2-3 lesson plan. And all the steps are there with videos and activities. Here's the dialing 911 activity. And actually right beside it is the lesson, the 10-minute lesson for dialing 911. You've also got home escape planning for your older adults, like adults that that need that, like for planning their own homes. And you've got special populations, a tip sheet. I love these because these are very generic. It's black and white, so it doesn't cost anything to print in color. So these are really simple. You can make them as posters, you can make handouts to send home with people, and they match up with your lesson plans when you're talking about planning your home fire escape. And then down at the bottom are tip sheets that you can add your information to down at the bottom. And then if you want even more, it's going to take you to more tip sheets. So there's all kinds of great things on the Fire Prevention Week website. So the last, I know we're almost at an hour, and with the last little bit, I'm gonna want to open it up to y'all. And the big thing here is y'all have some great ideas as well. These are just things that I use. And so I wanted to start a kind of like a share. And so what I have is a document. So if you are in my slides, you can, and I'm gonna grab the link and throw it in the chat window for y'all. And I've got actually, wait a minute, let me do this. Put on the second page. I'm going to grab this and throw it in there for you. You can scan it on your cell phone, or you can type in this link. And what this is this is a document that you can type in. And I want y'all to talk. You can unmute your microphones. If there's something cool you're doing for Fire Prevention Week, I'd love to hear it, but I'd also love for you to add it to this document. So whenever you come to this document, what you're going to do is you're going to pick a slide. Add your name, your department, your location, and email, because if somebody sees that idea and they've got a question, how can they ask you a question? And then share your favorite ideas. You know, you can add pictures, links, text if you just want to type an idea. But if you have a picture of an event or of a activity you've done, throw it on there. And if you need more than one slide, absolutely go grab it. This is what they're blank like this, so you can actually click and add your pictures. You can type your info on it. There's plenty of slides. If we run out, you can add more. So I'm going to unmute, and I want to give y'all a little bit of time to share some of the things y'all are doing in your own departments for Fire Prevention Week. Don't be scared to talk, people. Or if y'all have questions, that's totally cool too. Anybody have any ideas?
Well, I use a set of lessons that I've created. I've got a set of lessons from preschool all the way to grade 5. And they build. So if I'm going into a preschool class, I gather them up around me, and it's a typical teacher lesson kind of thing. I kind of pick and choose what else I've done. I've done the one where you had laminate the big and put them in order. I've done that one before with my upper level kids, but I have a set of lessons, and each one of them have a different topic, and they are geared to the North Carolina state standards. So that has always been my lifesaver, is go back to the standards, especially if you're having trouble getting into your schools. If you're doing that, you can, I'm sorry, I'm at home and I'm in my background. You hear all kinds of things going on in my kitchen. But anyway, but that's kind of where I am and what I do.
And that's a great thing also to think about, is if you're not sure about how to get into your schools, check your curriculums, like your standards for your state. So in North Carolina, Kindergarten through second grade does community helpers. And so a lot of times we go in with that. Third grade has, in their science curriculum, we have the methods of heat transfer. But because our fifth grade science test is cumulative, third, fourth, and fifth grade all talk about that because fourth and fifth grade have to review that concept. So it's an easy way in. At high school, we do our health science 2 class. It's actually in their curriculum for fire safety. When they do fire, I do teach fire extinguishers. We specifically talk about escape planning and fire extinguishers in a healthcare setting, but I also add and say, okay, we're talking about the healthcare right now, the center right here, but when you get home, this still applies. And how does this work? And then our culinary arts class, they have that culinary arts has a industrial kitchen. And so they actually do fire safety and we do fire extinguishers with them as well because they're actually cooking. And we have had fires in that kitchen before. Luckily, the hood system didn't activate, but we talked to them about what to do, what things, proper attire and cooking safety, all that. So check. And also our healthful living curriculum, which is our PE. There's a lot of inserts across healthful living. And so, and if you do the sound off program, if any of your departments do sound off, which is the elementary like K2 age range, there are lots of things with it that align with the standards in every state. So definitely check those out if you are trying to find ways into school. Anybody else? I see Mary Ann over here typing on in the slides. And again, definitely go back if you don't have time to put something in the slides right now, because I see like Troy is sitting in a car and I don't know if it's because he doesn't want to be in the office listening for people to listen to me talking, or if he is waiting to go in like to home. But like, I know that sometimes it's hard to type right now, but you are more than welcome to use that link. I'm going to have it as well on the website and I'll send it out to y'all to keep adding. And so hopefully this can be like a working document that you can come back and check and find more ideas. Anybody else do anything cool or have things scheduled for coming up for Fire Prevention Week?
So one of the things that we do is, and I'm looking sideways because I have so many screens. I'll put it over here so it makes it look better. So I'm from Branson, Missouri, and we have limited amount of time to get in the schools. We have myself and 2 others, one that's now having surgery today, going to be on light duty. So what we try to do for pre-K, we read books, we talk about firefighter gear, we actually have them dress, and then go through the truck just a little bit. First grade is puppets. We still do that. We've done that for many years. It's a good way to get the message across. It's the same songs. They're very old, but it helps with that message. And then for whatever the topic is for the year for Fire Prevention Week, we integrate that topic in for the kids. For first and second grade, we do a PowerPoint. It's called Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And so that kind of gets them going because they want to be smarter than a fifth grader. But it's questions based off of fire safety. And we change it every year just depending on what we're seeing in the community, if we've had issues with different events or incidents. And that's pretty much all we do. We go into the facts class, which is the family and consumer science class, kind of like you were talking about. We go over cooking safety and how a hood system works and fire extinguishers. We don't have the time to do the fire extinguisher prop with the students, but we talk a little bit about fire science also. And then we've partnered in the past with Western Taney County Fire Protection District, which is a neighboring fire department. And we actually get into deeper of the fire science with the truck and talk about pumping and math and, hydraulics and things of that nature to kind of tie it all in together. We do have a lot of extended stay motels They're not quite legal, but that's a different story. But we have a lot of families that live there. So we have difficulty getting into that environment. A lot of them are older buildings, no sprinkler, no fire alarm, or just a basic fire alarm, pull station, some devices, AVs. But getting that information to those families, because the parents are not there when the kids get home. And so that calls for something to do at night. And due to staffing, we're unable to, get out there and do what we need to do. So we struggle, like a lot of jurisdictions, in getting the message out. We do a lot of Facebook posts, but even that, you don't know exactly who's getting that and seeing that information.
And one of the things, like I was saying, that you may want to look into, especially if you have that limited time in the school, is seeing, can you work with those teachers or with the administrators to see if things can get pushed out in their newsletters that they do or in those LMSs. Most COVID, I will say, was a craziness for all of us. But the one thing that came about was we had to start reaching out to communicate with parents a little more creatively. And so when we send something out, it goes out multiple platforms. We have an app, we have our website that we posted on, we have our social media, but it also goes out by text message and phone message. And the kids are using those as well. And so that may be something, we may only get 10 minutes with a group, but we can say, here's our message. This is other places you can check, especially if it's something fun. And then because of that, the way we have it tied, you can see who accesses it. It gives us that information back. Like Kahoot, this is one of those things I didn't say, but with Kahoot, we don't have to do it live. If you only have 10 minutes with a class, you can actually have the teacher assign the Kahoot to the kids and they do it on their own time as almost like a homework assignment, or an adult group do that. And then
Right.
you get that data still back. So that's
That's a
another
good idea. I
option.
haven't thought about that. Yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you for sharing. I'm also curious where everybody's from, so that gives me some points of reference.
We had I'm from Pleasant Garden, North Carolina, which is a small, well, it's not a real small, but it's a combination department. And I do my job as a volunteer, but and it is in Guilford County, North Carolina. But we had our first open house. It was in conjunction with our anniversary. We are 70 years young as a fire station, but we had it in the afternoon. And one of the things, it was a great success. I was excited because it was a success and it was our first one. But we had other departments to share in that. If we had one department, and they were all neighbors, and they were able to bring things that they use. Like one department brought it's a full X fire extinguisher and demonstrated how to put out fires with a fire extinguisher. And then one, Pinecroft brought their enlarging machine. Some of you may have seen that, some of you may not, but that was a big hit. And then one had a safety trailer. So we as a county kind of came together and put on this big event that we could, put on anywhere within the county. It just happened to be in Pleasant Garden at the time. So that's another option if you can't get into the schools or you want to get together with your other departments in your neighborhood, in your area.
Debbie said in the chat she's from Carroll County, Maryland, and she's doing a bingo this year and a fall festival open house. I would love to know how the bingo goes. Like, is this a live bingo where people are playing, and is it fire safety things on your bingo card? I know that sounds weird. I'm just kind of curious. I would love, like, we do bingos at different times for people to do activities to complete a bingo card, but I've never done one live. So I'm curious how that would be. That would be awesome if you could share. Debbie, definitely put that in on the Google slide, the document for the share document. And Carolyn, what she was talking about is tag teaming. We do that a lot in North Carolina. With our ISO inspections, if we do things together with other agencies, we all get to use those numbers and that data. And with so many staffing issues, that's the only way we can even have events anymore, is because, you know, my department I just came from, I was one person, and not everybody could be at those events. So we tag teamed. Safety Fest in Thomasville, we had like 9 departments that came, and they were not all butting up to each other. We weren't all mutual aid departments. We had departments that were an hour from there that would come and do those events with us because they had a resource. Like one has an inflatable, smokehouse, and like everybody brought their niche. And so we were all, like Carolyn was talking about, doing those different things, getting messages out. Same message, just different tweak to it. So that's another way to do it too. Let's see, I'm looking to see, she responded. Fire safety and kids get prizes. I'm really curious. I want to know how the bingo ends up turning out. So definitely, yeah, definitely let us know how some of the stuff works. And like I said, as you're doing things, even if it's after Fire Prevention Week, because all of these resources, you know, so many things everybody wants to try to jam into one week. Well, we can't get everything in a week. So a lot of times it spans out for multiple weeks across the month into next month. As you're doing things, come and add them to the document, because there may be things that you come up with in like a couple weeks that are unique that we'd love to hear about. And like he was talking about those extended stay motels, if you come up with a way to reach them, add that, because there are a lot of people that is becoming the issue, especially with COVID. It's cheaper to stay in a hotel than it was for people to pay their mortgage for a month, especially those long stay ones. So we had families that's where their address was one of these hotels. So definitely, I'd love to know ideas for that too. Anybody else do anything cool coming up? Don't be scared to talk or turn your camera on. It's okay. Or if anybody has any questions, if there's anything you have questions that you saw or we talked about, this is your chance to ask. While y'all are doing that, I am going to switch back over really fast and share something on my screen with y'all, but you're more than welcome to unmute and ask questions. I wanted to throw this back up here for y'all. If you came in late and did not sign in, make sure that you sign in. I will throw it in I'm gonna throw both the slides and the sign in into the chat window. And I'm also gonna throw the link to the idea share. So definitely come back and share ideas with us. And then if you have signed in, which that Google form, you'll put your email and stuff in there. I will be sending the recording. I'll be sending the slides as well as the link to the idea share. That way you can come back later and add things to it, visit to see what people have. My email address is up on the screen, and you are more than welcome to email me anytime. I have departments all the time that people are working on projects and they want just an extra eye, or how do I share this so that people don't edit it? Shoot me an email. I'm more than welcome. I'm more than happy to help with that. I do have a Twitter. I'm in and out on Twitter. I'm more on Facebook than I am on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, you can follow my virtual PD page. It is, if you just search Mrs. D's virtual PD, it'll be on there. And I'm starting to try to post a little bit more. I just started this at the beginning of the school year. But thank y'all so much for joining. Like I said, I will hang around for a little bit if anybody's got any questions or if you have any other ideas. And I hope that y'all have a fantastic Fire Prevention Week.